Hey guys, welcome to the channel. This is my 2020 Mustang GT, and today I want to talk about the new S650 Mustang for 2024. I'm going to talk about some things I think Ford did right, some missed opportunities and areas of improvement, and then also just kind of compare the S550, my S550 versus the new one. One thing Ford I think did right was the new front end on the Mustang. I think all of them look great, all the way from the Ecoboost to the Dark Horse. One improvement they did was they have these cool lights that light up like in like the fangs. I'll show you guys a picture of what I'm talking about, but I think that's going to look really cool at night. However, one downside is that you do not have fog lights anymore. And I'm a person who loves lighting, that's why I do like night videos and stuff, and unfortunately you cannot get fog lights anymore on the new Mustang. The headlights and stuff, they look really cool. By the way, if there's any wind noise, I apologize ahead of time. Another benefit that they did was they made it have really nice looking brakes. So now on the new Mustang, you can actually customize your brake calipers. You can get blue, red, I think you can get black as well. So I love that you can actually get it from the factory, because nothing beats factory quality, because when you paint it aftermarket, sometimes they start chipping and stuff like that, and that's just not fun. Finally, on Mustangs, you can get some really cool looking brakes in the rear, because previously, even if you get the GT Performance Pack and everything, you still get this ugly brake in the back, that little one. So now they have a really big caliper in the back. At least for Performance Pack models, it might be on all of them, but I'll have to see when Ford comes out with more information. So I do love the huge brake caliper that they did in the back, and then also that little side caliper for the parking brake with that new electronic parking brake function. So that was another big improvement Ford did. Going to the back here, I'm not a huge fan of the rear end of the new Mustang. I'm not like opposed to it, but I'm not a huge fan of it either. The main thing that I don't like is that huge plastic bumper that comes like way up here. I don't know if you guys can see that, like way up here. Not a huge fan of that. I think the rear end of this one looks absolutely perfect, especially with my GT350 style wing on there. But we'll have to see it in person, see what it looks like. It does look kind of beefy and bulky in the back, but I don't know, maybe if you see it in person, it might look good. They finally made the reverse light LED. So I've seen some videos on the new Mustang where it's like backing up, and this light is LED now, so you don't have to upgrade that anymore. So I'm glad Ford finally included that. Another benefit is it looks like, I have to see when I see it in person, but it looks like the side marker, they also upgraded that to LED as well. But other than that, they have like newer door handles on the new Mustang now, different than these ones. But other than that, the outside, I feel like they did a pretty good job, and I do like the little improvements. I do wish they had fog lights in the rear end, was a little bit better though. Well, let's go ahead and pop the hood and look under there real quick before going inside. All right guys, just pop the hood here. I don't know if you've guys seen it. I'll put a picture on the screen for those who haven't, but the new Mustang engine looks really cool. It has like two intakes coming out the front there, two throttle bodies. So I think the new engine design looks pretty cool. They also moved the coolant tank from over here to over on this side. Another huge benefit that finally Ford did after so many years is they gave the new Mustang hood struts. So no longer do you have to get these aftermarket ones that sometimes don't work right, or they just don't feel right. Ford finally has hood struts from the factory, so that's a big improvement there. Other than that, underneath the hood, I mean, other than the dual intakes and everything, it seems to be pretty much the same as the S550. So that's a plus because it looks good in my opinion. Let's go ahead and hop inside. All right guys, just popped open the door here. One thing that they did on the S5, or I should say the S650, that I'm not too fond of is they kept the same exact switch gear. So it looks like this part here, this, and all of this is exactly the same. Now they did make the rear, or I should say they did make the door design a little bit different towards like the back part of the door. It kind of curves down a little bit more than this one, but the door is pretty much exactly the same. So I do kind of wish that they did a little better on that one. Another thing that Ford kind of missed, a missed opportunity, is to finally make the dead pedal bigger and to make it aluminum from the factory. So if you guys don't know, Mustangs normally come with a little tiny dead pedal over there, and it's black, and it just looks kind of ugly, and it's not even functional because you can't even put your foot on that without you twisting your ankles and your feet like falling off of it. So that's a missed opportunity. Ford could have made a bigger dead pedal. I mean, maybe on manual cars it's too close to the clutch, I don't know, but at least for the automatics they should have had a bigger dead pedal, just like I have in my GTI. Another thing I think Ford could have done better is make the seat design different. So this seat design here is pretty much exactly the same as the S650. I've seen some videos. I mean, they have some different colors and stuff, but the seat design is pretty much exactly the same. So, you know, when you have an all new Mustang, you kind of want everything to be all new, and it looks like the seats are pretty much the same. But let's go ahead and hop inside, start it up, and go over the rest of the interior. All right, let's go ahead and start it up. I'm on E85 right now, just got a full tank. Well, let's go ahead and talk about the interior now. The inside of the new Mustang, I'm gonna zoom this camera out here. I'm filming this on my new iPhone, by the way, so this is kind of new. Okay, here we go. So the new Mustang has that new digital display that comes all the way across. I think it looks really good. I like digital displays because you can customize it to anything that you want. So that's really cool, but the only downside is that they don't really have that traditional, dual cowl design anymore. So you can see there, has a really cool cowl on that side, and on this side, that's been like a signature Mustang thing that they've done forever. Unfortunately, the new Mustang does not have that anymore. So that's one downside. I feel like that was a missed opportunity. They could have still did the digital gauge cluster, but at least made it look like this behind the digital gauge cluster, you know, just to kind of keep it old school. But I mean, nonetheless, it still looks pretty good. Ford did a really good job with this area on the new Mustang. They did change the vents. I do wish they were circular vents like these ones. They could have just did that down below, but I guess they decided to go with more rectangular ones. So I think that new design that they have here looks pretty good. I like this push start button. Although it does look kind of weird. It's kind of, I don't know, it looks kind of weird, but I do like the push start button. One thing I feel like Ford could have done was they could have had these toggle switches, but just made it go up and down instead of only up. I feel like that would have been a nice improvement. Another downside is that this transmission looks exactly the same. So they didn't change like the gear shifter design or anything like that. It's just the boot like area is like a triangle now instead of like this. But they didn't really change that at all. GT performance models do have that cool electronic e-brake thing. It looks a little strange not having like a button in the front and just like a lever there, but it's kind of cool design nonetheless. It's like a first-in-class thing. And then the Ecoboost models have just like a normal electronic parking brake. As far as up here, one huge benefit Ford did for the new Mustangs is that they finally gave it LED interior lighting. So no longer do you have to upgrade the interior lights anymore because they are all LED now. And it also has a glasses holder up here now. So this whole like upper console area is completely different because they've had this, I think, since 2005. So it's good that they finally upgraded this. Now let's talk about that new steering wheel design. So I want to hear you guys' thoughts in the comments. What do you guys think of the new steering wheel? I think the new steering wheel looks really good. The only thing I'm a little iffy on is the GT steering wheels. They have all this like, I don't know, all this double leather and double stitching and all these weird designs on it. I don't know, that looks a little strange in my opinion, but I'm sure it'll feel just fine. We'll have to obviously see it in person. All right guys, let's talk about the new Mustang Ecoboost. So the Ecoboost, like I said earlier, I think they did a really good job with the design of it. The only thing I'm a little concerned about is I hope that the Ecoboost will actually make the claimed horsepower that they say it does. And I hope that the power band will be a little bit better. Because if you guys own an Ecoboost or know anything about Ecoboost, at least in the stock form, you know, the power really drops off past 5,500 RPM. It feels like it doesn't really make all of 310 horsepower. It feels like it makes around like 280 horsepower. So basically the area of improvement for the new Mustang is just make sure that it actually makes the horsepower that they say it does. Hopefully they give it a little bit more horsepower, like 320, 330. And yeah, just kind of improve that power band. That's the only thing I feel like they need to improve for the Ecoboost. Next up, let's talk about the GT. So the GT, it looks great. Like I said earlier, has that nice aggressive grille. I do like the big brakes, at least for performance pack models. The brakes look really cool. I like the seatbelt color option that you can do now. The drift brake is pretty cool. And they say that the horsepower is supposed to be 480 plus. So my assumption will be it's going to be 480, but it might be 485, who knows? The more the better, obviously, but I'm assuming it's going to be around 480 since they said 480 plus. One area of improvement for the new Mustang GT is I wish that they made the exhaust tips different, because right now the exhaust tips are exactly the same as the current Mustang. So the new S550 or S650 Mustang has the same exact exhaust tips as the current Mustang. So I feel like that was an area of improvement they could have done. And then also performance packs. Why are they still using Pirellis? Everyone knows that Pirellis are garbage. At least in my experience with Pirellis, they're garbage. So I wish they would bring back the Michelin Pilot Sport 4S's like they had on 2018 through 2020 Mustang performance packs, but I guess they want to use those Pirellis again. I hope that the new Coyote Mustang GT does not have the engine tick anymore, because if you guys can hear, I don't know if you guys can hear it. Oh, it's actually not ticking right now, but my car does have the engine tick, which is really annoying. It happens after an oil change and stays there for like 3,000 miles or so, and then kind of goes away towards the upper end of the oil change. So that's kind of annoying, but you know, I really hope that Ford's new Coyote, the Gen 4, does not have that stupid Coyote tick anymore, because no one wants to buy a brand new car and it's ticking away because it just doesn't sound good, even if it's normal like Ford says it is. Last up, let's talk about that Dark Horse. So the Dark Horse, I mean, that thing looks amazing. I'm a little iffy about that carbonized gray, like plastic section underneath the headlights, but I'm sure it'll look good in person and everything like that. And it also depends on which color you pick. The only downside and my concern with the Dark Horse is the name recognition. Dark Horse is an all new name, and people that buy Mustangs, they kind of want like the Mustang heritage. At least I think they do, you know, like a Mach 1 or a Boss 302. So I feel like that was kind of a missed opportunity for Ford. They could have called it a Boss 302. And even though the 2012 through 13 Boss 302 was like a base model, like track type car, I still kind of wish that they called it a Boss 302 or something that actually has name recognition. Another downside to the Dark Horse is that the interior is exactly the same as a normal Mustang GT. There's no like, you know, additional things or anything like that. So the interior is exactly the same, but there is a good side though. The speedometer on the Dark Horse goes up to 180, whereas on the normal GT, and I haven't heard any reviewers talk about this, which is so strange to me, no one even noticed, but the speedometer on the normal GT and Ecoboost models only go up to 140. Now, I don't know if you guys have seen that or not, but this one goes to 160, and even that's not enough, because the Mustang's top speed from factory is 155 limited, but when you have a tune like I do, the speedometer stops at 160 and doesn't count above that, which kind of sucks. So that's a huge downside, is the speedometer only goes up to 140. So hopefully that's just a pre-production thing, or it's a mistake or whatever. But if it's only 140, that means that the limiter is at max 140, and that would be very disappointing. All right, guys, one last thing I forgot to mention when I was on the outside is Ford missed a huge opportunity as well to give the Mustang front parking sensors or a front camera. Because if you guys have a Mustang or own a Mustang, you'll know that this nose is extremely long, and from inside, it's kind of hard to tell where your nose is. So you don't want to pull up to a parking spot and break off your front chin spoiler because you don't know where the nose is. So Ford should have gave it either front parking sensors or a front camera to help with that long nose. Let me know what you guys think of my opinion, my thoughts, and stuff I think they could have done better on the S650. I want to hear what you guys think in the comments. As long as Ford tunes the 10-speed right, because right now it's really herky-jerky and the downshifts aren't very fast, and you know, it's very lurchy and stuff like that. And no one wants a transmission that's jerky like that. I know the 10-speed is great. The Coyotes, I mean, with the 10-speed, everyone rants and raves about how good they are. And that's true when you're under wide open throttle. But when you're just driving around town, you want the transmission to be smooth. You don't want it to be jerky and all over the place. All right, guys, before we close up the video, I just kind of want to show you my notes here. These are all the notes that I wrote down for the new S650 Mustang. One thing I kind of forgot to mention was I do hope that they improve the fit and finish and quality on the Mustang, because right now it's a little, like the interior rattles a little bit, depends on which one you get. Also the exterior, like sometimes the body panels don't line up very well. So I hope that they improve that. I hope that 140 miles per hour speedometer is not actually true, because that would be very disappointing. I hope that the price isn't absolutely ridiculous, because this is really little stuff that people probably won't notice or care about. But for 2018 through 20 Mustangs, they have a glove box light, and then for 21 and newer Mustangs, they took it out. So that's kind of dumb. I mean, they should have kept it. Another thing is the ambient lights in the cup holders. I've been watching a lot of videos, and it doesn't look like they have ambient lights in the cup holders on premiums anymore. So I hope that's not the case, but you know, we'll see when we actually get our hands on one. Also, the Sync 4 screen, it looks great. They have that huge screen. I like the way it looks, but I hope that it's actually responsive, because if it's like this one, press a button, takes forever to go there. You go to your settings, sound, look at that, takes forever. Let's go to phone. So with the way the current sync is, you have to press it a few times for it to actually start going fast. But the first initial time when you press it, it's not fast and it lags. And especially since the climate control is on the screen, because when you're adjusting the climate control on the screen, you don't want it to be all laggy and stuff, because that just make you pull your hair out. That's the one thing I forgot to talk about, is which one I'd buy. I'll buy the Dark Horse if it's reasonably priced. I'll buy the GT Premium also if it's reasonably priced. If those are both overpriced and they're like, you know, 60 some $1,000, 55, it's just, that's a little too expensive for a Mustang in my opinion, so I'll probably get a GT base model. But we'll see when the new Mustang comes out. I'll definitely be bringing some videos to you guys. I do work at a Ford dealership, so you know, if you guys are interested in a 2024 Mustang, you guys can hit me up on Instagram and I can help you guys get one. You can order one through me whenever Ford allows you to order it. So I'll be more than happy to help you guys out with that if you guys are local to Las Vegas. But for this last part of the video, I know it's been pretty long already. Let's just do a little pull on this side street over here. Actually, guys, I kind of want to do a big burnout here. Oh my gosh. The exhaust is just echoing off of this wall over here. Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, and I will see you in the next one.